Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. If push comes to shove, ending the Ben Simmons experiment might be a challenge for the Brooklyn Nets. The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor reported Simmons' trade value is even murkier than it was before the Nets acquired him from the Philadelphia 76ers. Teams were reluctant to make strong offers to Philadelphia for Simmons before the deadline, and now there's even more confusion about his condition. I spoke with a trusted source from a non playoff team that was previously attracted to Simmons who told me they are out on him. Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher spoke to a general manager who offered a similar view. Brooklyn just had to play it out a little bit. You don't really have a choice. I just don't think Simmons has any real trade value. He hasn't been accountable for two franchises. He hasn't played an entire season due to a back injury. How can you do a trade with the chance he reports and then says he can't play because of the back again? Trading for the 25-year-old Simmons in February made sense for Brooklyn, even though he had yet to play in 2021 to 2022. The Nets sorely needed his perimeter defending, and the presence of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving meant he wouldn't have to shoulder the scoring burden he did with Philly. And because of both his age and the 3 years left on his contract, it wasn't the worst thing in the world if he didn't play this season. The way the last few weeks have unfolded has been nothing short of a disaster, though, and O'Connor's and Fisher reports are a sign of how Simmons' future with the Nets is already in question. The Athletic Shams Charania reported Simmons ruled himself out of Game 4 of the Nets' opening round NBA playoff series against the Boston Celtics because a mental block exists for him, dating in part to last summer's postseason. The trouble is that he gave the impression he was in a good place mentally and physically to suit up, telling reporters last week that Game 4 was a reasonable target. Charania reported the sudden change triggered frustration and disheartenment throughout the organization. The story also included this detail. For Nets players, the confusion was not centered around Simmons' ailment, but with the perceived lack of attempt to play, effort to be in uniform and push his body in these high stakes playoffs, sources said. Contrast that with how Irvin seemed to cause little stir internally when he needed to take time off midway through the 2020-2021 season for personal reasons. Constant will he slash won't he drama didn't surround Durant either when the NBA C19 paused in 2019 and 20 opened the door for him to return from his torn Achilles tendon. The 12-time All-Star ruled himself out for the restart, and that was that. So much of the current drama could have been avoided if the Nets or Simmons made it clear that the odds he would play in the postseason were slim. That it didn't happen raises some questions. As the GM indicated to Fisher, Brooklyn has painted itself into a corner with the two-time all-defensive standout. The franchise has little choice but to look toward next year and hope he can start delivering on the court. So, I told you guys this. Me, shout out to C Pen as well. Me and C Pen talked about this. And this is what C Pen said to me. HD, man, I really think we've seen the last of Ben Simmons, aka No J Simmons, and I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Shout out to my brother C Pen for the win. That's my boy. Now, everything would have been cool if Ben Simmons just said, "Yo, I'm not coming back because of such and such." But then when you're not attempting to try to come back, like work through your injury, like you have a back injury, it's up to the Nets organization to try to get you ready to get you ready to play for the games that's coming up because this team is trying to push for a playoff spot. Kevin Durant is getting old. Like, he's not the young Kevin Durant that came out of college after 1 year. Kyrie Irving, we don't know if he basically might come back. He might opt to take the 4 year deal. There's a report saying that he might take let me see. I just saw it. Okay, so basically, what Kyrie can do is he can sign a new 5 year, $248 million contract this summer. And some are wondering whether the Brooklyn Nets may ask him to take a little less. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported their speculation around the NBA that the Nets could ask Irving to take a 4 year deal or ask for playing time concessions in a new deal. In a new deal. Irving has played in only 103 games in 3 seasons with the Nets. He missed most of the 2019 to 20 campaign with a shoulder injury, took a 7 game unexcused absence in 2020 to 21, and was forced to sit out over his C19 jab status for most of this season. Frustrations over Irving's lack of availability loomed heavily over the Nets during the 2021 to 22 campaign, providing enough of a distraction for James Chopin to force a trade to Philly and dig in a deep enough hole that Brooklyn was forced into a play-in game. The Nets were swept by the Celtics in round one despite losing the 4 games by a total of 18 points. Irving performed brilliantly in a 39-point outing in game one, but combined for just 46 points on 16 of 43 shooting over the final 3 games. Didn't necessarily play as well as I would have liked, Irving told reporters, but now we just look for the future as a team and what we can accomplish for the next few years, and I get excited about that. The Nets will hopefully welcome Simmons, the centerpiece of their Chopin deal, into the fold next season. Simmons' defensive versatility and playmaking are an on paper perfect fit next to Irving and Durant, but the 3-time All-Star missed the entire 2021 the 22 season while he worked on his mental health and he recovered from lingering back injuries. It's unclear what type of player he will be when and if he returns to the floor. Durant has already made a long-term commitment to the Nets, agreeing to a 4 year extension before this season. Irving likely isn't going anywhere as long as Durant is on the roster. The two have become intrinsically linked in this Brooklyn experiment. That said, there's plenty of reason for the Nets to have some level of hesitation about pushing their chips to the center of the table with Irving. So that's basically with Irving. But now, when you look at the Ben Simmons thing, the Brooklyn Nets are meeting with him and Rich Paul. They are meeting with him and Rich Paul because they were under the impression that no Jay Simmons would be back, just like the rest of us thought. But oh no, he wasn't. Oh, so sad he lied. So now, so now, people are very upset in the organization because now they really want to get away from No J and trade him, but now everybody sees what he does and how Rich Paul represents him. They're not too eager to jump into a trade proposal. And this could hurt Clutch in the long run. Seriously, this could really hurt Clutch Sports because now that they see how this dude is doing, they not trying to deal with this. Seriously, they're not trying to deal with this at all. So this is the thing I try to tell people and talk to people about. And this is what I try to say to people. And this is how it is. Um, the frustrated Brooklyn Nets officials, they're demanding a meeting with Ben Simmons and his agent Rich Paul after Simmons sat out again for game 4. Simmons said in the meeting that a mental block exists for him, partly because of his struggles in last year's playoffs, like I was telling you, which he claims is creating stress that could serve as a trigger point for his back issues. Do you believe that bullshit? Simmons insisted he did want to play basketball again and suit up for the Nets. Okay. Like I said, this is what this guy does. And I tried to explain to people, and I saw Kwame Brown make a video. Shout out to him in his Bus Life Sports and his media platform. He's doing big things. But I'm sorry, Kwame, nobody is feeling sorry for this bum. This guy has consistently lied. It came with Philly, and he acted like an a-hole for Philly. Now he's acting like an a-hole for Brooklyn. You cost Brooklyn the Nets the chance to do something because they needed a facilitator and they needed a guy who can play in the post as well as get rebounds defensively, also can lock up guys, and that's what happened. You let your team down. Rich Paul is a terrible agent. I know Clutch Sports is behind this because this is what LeBrownies does with his whole supporting cast. And all this is allegedly, by the way, but this is bullcrap. They do this to basically, they held the Nets hostage. Now they're going to try to trade him, but nobody wants him. And now I got another video I'm going to do after I do this one. The Lakers are basically putting last season on Anthony Davis and LeBron James for wanting Westbrook. So now you definitely ain't finna get Ben Simmons in LA. Because if you think you're going to trade Ben Simmons there, they're not going to deal with that because they already got another player like a Ben Simmons, which is LeBron. So we're going to know about this meeting the next comes, but dog, it's going to be bad for Ben Simmons, man. I'm telling you. This is going to be a whole lot of stuff that comes out. Ben Simmons and Clutch Sports is going to get exposed, and I keep telling people that. They're going to get exposed. You got all these LeBrownie nut huggers out here who defend him to death. They defend him to death. It's crazy to me. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's up. So let me guys know what you guys think, and let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about this and everything? Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Hit that notification bell to select all so you can receive upcoming notifications. And if you guys love what you hear, you guys can go to my description box, hit that link in the Cash App. That'll take you to my Cash App where you can donate whatever your heart's desire. And whenever we have a new premiere video, a premiere video or live, you guys can super chat now. So thank you guys for listening. We are out. Deezy.